Hello everyone, this is Musaddiq Keswani and welcome back to our series of video lecture where we are discussing the newly introduced IFRS sustainability standards. In our last lecture, we discussed what sustainability is, why it is important and how sustainability reporting is becoming a key component of corporate governance and financial reporting. And today, we are diving deep into the world of sustainability reporting, particularly focusing on a very crucial standard that is taking the corporate world by storm. Yes, that is IFRS S1, General Requirement for Disclosure of Sustainability Related Financial Information. As the name says, this standard is all about general requirement for disclosing sustainability related financial information. Now, I know what you are thinking. General requirement, that sounds like a boring stuff. But my friend, trust me, this is the backbone of sustainability reporting and all the subsequent sustainability standards. And by the end of this lecture, you will see why it is so essential. So, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me ask you a quick question. How many of you have ever been in a situation where you had to explain something really important but without giving away too much detail? It is like when you are trying to justify that spontaneous road trip to your parents, you give them the important stuff, but you leave out how you got lost for 3 hours, right? Well, that is what IFRS S1 does. It is not about listing every single detail, but about providing clear, reliable and useful overview of sustainability related risk and opportunities that matters the most. IFRS S1 basically sets the stage for all the sustainability related disclosures, and this standard is designed to guide companies on how to disclose sustainability related risk and opportunities that could impact their financial performance. But here is the highlight. IFRS S1 does not tell you exactly what to disclose. Instead, it gives you a framework, much like the conceptual framework under IS1, to help you determine what is important and what isn't. Now, to add more context, think of IFRS S1 as your trusty GPS navigation, guiding you through the twists and turns of sustainability reporting. So, let's stay on the course and back to IFRS S1. And to do further analysis of this standard, let's break it down and start from its scope. The scope of IFRS S1 revolves around disclosing information about sustainability related risk and opportunities that could reasonably be expected to impact your company's cash flow, access to finance or cost of capital, whether that's in short, medium or long term. So essentially, we are talking about anything that could affect your company's financial health due to sustainability issues. Now, you might be thinking, does this mean we have to disclose everything? Well, the answer is no. IFRS S1 is all about focusing on what is relevant and also material. Think of it like packing for a trip. You do not pack your entire wardrobe, just the essential. Similarly, in sustainability reporting, you disclose the risk and opportunities that truly matters. IFRS S1 requires that the information you disclose should meet two qualitative characteristics. First, fundamental characteristics. These consist of relevance and faithful representation. This means that the information should be meaningful and reflect the reality of company's situation. And second, we have enhancing categories. These consist of comparability, verifiability, timeliness and understandability. This ensures that the information is easy to compare with the other entities, can be verified and is provided in a timely manner and is easy to understand. Let's have a real life example. Imagine you are a global retailer and you have identified climate change as a significant risk to your supply chain and you need to disclose how this risk is going to affect your cost and availability of goods. But instead of just saying climate change is a risk, IFRS S1 guides you to provide a detailed, relevant and honest disclosure about how you are managing this risk, how it is likely to impact your financials and how your strategy is adapting to it. This is where the magic of faithful representation and relevance comes in. Now, this is where IFRS S1 really gets interesting. The standard requires that the sustainability disclosure to be integrated with your general purpose financial statement such as your annual report or management commentary. This means that you are not just slapping on few pages about sustainability at the end of your financial report. Instead, the disclosure shall be integrated in a way that it is aligned with your financial statement using consistent assumption, estimate and presentation currency, which creates a clear link between financial and sustainability information, aiding the decision making of the investors. Let's take a practical example. Suppose you are a renewable energy company and you are heavily investing in a solar technology, and you have identified this as both significant risk and opportunity. Because let's face it, not every technology works out as planned. So in this scenario, under IFRS S1, you would need to disclose how this investment could impact your future cash flows, the strategies you are employing to manage the risk, and how these decisions are aligned with your overall financial planning. So now, my friend, let's move on to the most important and core area of this standard, the identification and disclosure of sustainability related risk and opportunities. In short, how to develop your IFRS S1 disclosure itself. To achieve this, the standard requires an entity to apply two steps approach. Step 1, the identification. IFRS S1 requires you to identify sustainability related risk and opportunities that could affect your company. IFRS S1 refers entity to the SASB standards where industry specific risks are provided. Entities should use the SASB standards applicable to their industry. For example, if a reporting entity operates in the construction industry, it should apply SASB standards applicable for the construction industry to identify potential risks and opportunities. Step 2. Identify applicable disclosure requirements. This involves presenting the risk and opportunities identified in Step 1. IFRS S1 requires you to develop sustainability disclosure using 4 content areas. So, let's understand the 4 content areas one by one. These are governance, strategy, risk management, and metrics and targets. So first, let's understand the governance content. Here, an entity should disclose the governance processes used to monitor sustainability related risk and opportunities. This could include the information about executive level sustainability oversight committee, details about the delegation of responsibility for monitoring risk and opportunity, the frequency of executive sustainability meetings, and any executive activities related to sustainability. In short, this is about who is in charge. You need to disclose the governance structures in place for overseeing sustainability related risk and opportunities. Whether you have a sustainability committee that reports to the board, how often do they meet, what is their mandate, and most importantly, how is sustainability integrated with your overall governance framework. You would need to address all these matters under the governance heading. Next, we have strategy. Here, you will disclose how your business strategy is influenced by sustainability related risk and opportunities. This includes the approach an entity uses to manage sustainability related risk and opportunities, the strategies employed by it to mitigate the risk and capitalize opportunities, the financial impact resulting from these risks and opportunities, such as the implication within the financial plans, forecasts, and budgets, So let us understand it with an example. Let's say if you are a fashion retailer, then you need to disclose how you are dealing with the increasing demand of sustainable products. Are you shifting your supply chain to source more sustainable materials? And how does this impact your financial performance and business model? Next, we have risk management. This is about how you identify, assess, monitor, and manage sustainability related risk and the degree of uncertainty and magnitude of the risk involved. For example, if you are a mining company, you would need to disclose that how you are managing risk related to the environmental impact, such as water use or deforestation. Further, this could include that what data are you using to assess these risks, whether you are conducting scenario analysis to determine the possible outcome in different environments. Next, we have metrics and targets. Finally, here an entity should disclose its performance in relation to sustainability related risks and opportunities, including its progress towards any target that it has set or it is required to meet by law or regulation. It is like your sustainability scorecard. For example, if you have committed to reducing your carbon footprint by 50% by 2030, then you would be disclosing that how you are measuring your progress. Are you on track? And what would happen if you do not meet your targets? So, alright my friend, that's a wrap up for today. We have covered a lot of ground from the scope of IFRS S1 to its core content areas. Remember, this standard is the foundation for all sustainability related standards. In our next lecture, we will explore IFRS S2, which builds on S1 by focusing specifically on climate related disclosures. I hope you have found today's discussion insightful. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep those sustainability gears turning.